willkommen zu Gabriel Knight. In der letzten Folge ging es ja heiß hoch zu. Heiß hoch zu. Naja, oder so ähnlich halt. Auf jeden Fall sind wir wieder wohlbehalten, dank Grace, zurückgekommen. Und so langsam fügt sich alles zu einem ganzen Bild zusammen. Wir werden jetzt auf jeden Fall erstmal mit Wolfgang Ritter sprechen, der doch bestimmt uns da weiterhelfen kann mit dem Ganzen. 3, 2, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht?
This is Gabriel Knight. Can I speak to Wolfgang, please?
Ja, Herr Knight. Einen Moment, bitte.
Gabriel, it's so good to hear your voice. I had such a dream last night.
There's a good reason for that, Uncle Wolfgang. We need to talk.
Gabriel fills in Wolfgang on the events of the previous evening.
Ah, it is even worse than I thought.
You bet it is. We have to talk about what I'm supposed to do.
So, und hier haben wir es ja. Jetzt fragen wir erstmal er selbst, das Übliche halt.
Tell me about yourself.
I hope there will be time for that later, Gabriel, after this is all over. For now, we must deal with the matter at hand.
Gut, das geht schon mal nicht. Dann fangen wir mit Voodoo mal an.
What can you tell me about Voodoo?
It sounds as though you have learned much during your investigation in New Orleans. Perhaps you will fill me in when we have a chance to sit down and talk.
Okay, da kann er nicht viel reden und sagen darüber. Wahrscheinlich hier genauso.
What do you know about the Voodoo-Murders?
I know only what you have told me. They seem to be very similar to the killings in Gunther's journal.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It was just another American city to me until I started dreaming about you. Now I feel it is not safe for you there. I wish you would leave.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I have not studied the subject. I have an intense dislike for them.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm afraid I've never heard of it.
Mir ist es klar, ich gehe jetzt einfach mal die ganzen Gespräche durch, aber die meisten werden wahrscheinlich nichts bringen hier.
Do you have any idea what Capri Saint-Gare means?
No, what does it mean?
It means goat without horns. It's a term used for human sacrifice in voodoo.
Well, let's hope we can avoid any more of that in this family.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
No, I'm afraid not.
I've heard rumors of a secret hound fool here in New Orleans.
Yeah, I am sure they have a temple there, and probably a very elaborate one. You should not go near it, though. Not alone.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Yes. Tetlos people wear animal masks for their rituals, don't they? It is not at all uncommon. Many occult groups are based heavily on animal totems. Animals have such pure, primal traits. Spirituality, good or bad, is about reaching these pure levels. Aggressive and cunning like the snake, agile and nurturing like the monkey. Even our family is associated with the image of a lion.
Do you know anything about Veves?
It is a visual symbol of one or more lore. Each lore has its own sign, which is used to summon it.
Do you know anything else about Veves?
I've already given you what limited knowledge I have on the subject.
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
Damballa is a snake. He is a Loa, a voodoo god.
Yes, he's one of the primary Loa of the Geddy tribe.
I see. Good work. That information might prove useful.
Ich muss mal ganz kurz Pause machen. Sorry für die kleine Unterbrechung. Aber jetzt geht's gleich weiter. Jetzt, wo waren wir? Ich glaube, bei Damballa waren wir. Oder kommen wir jetzt hin?
Do you know anything more about Damballa?
No, my knowledge of the lore is fairly limited.
Okay, das hatten wir schon. Dann Ogun Badagri.
Does the name Ogun Badakri mean anything to you?
It is a voodoo lore, is it not?
Yes, a particularly nasty one, so I understand. Have you come across anything about it in your research?
He seems to be feared by most voodoo groups. I haven't come across very much specific information.
Gut. Schwarzes Voodoo.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
My library contains many books on the occult and religions, and I have read about some particularly evil voodoo cults. But you, at this point, have more direct experience than I.
Wahrscheinlich. Jetzt machen wir auf die Radartrommeln, da wir da nicht viel sagen können.
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
Rada drums? You mean ceremonial drums?
Yes. The Gedi tribe uses drummers around the French Quarter as relay messengers to keep track of their business.
Those drums have a ceremonial use, too. It would be useful to know their code, Gabriel.
I had Grace find some information on them.
That's my boy.
Na, haben wir doch schon. Jetzt fragen wir noch über Schattenjäger. Da wird er wahrscheinlich relativ viel darüber reden können.
What can you tell me about Schattenjägers?
Yes, of course. I sometimes forget how little you know of the family, Gabriel. I never understood how Heinz could allow his sons to remain ignorant. But now is not the time for that discussion. Schattenjäger is really two words in English, Gabriel. Schatten means shadow, and Jäger means hunter.
Shadow Hunter.
Yes, shadow hunter.
Tell me more about Schattenjägers.
We Ritters have been Schattenjägers for many centuries. No one is sure when it began or how, but we have records of ancestors as early as the 13th century fulfilling this role. Some believe that the role was given us when... But such fantasies cannot be of use to you at the moment.
Hier erfährt er über seine Bestimmung.
Tell me more about Schattenjägers.
Most people are completely blind to the fact that evil does exist. It is out of vogue at the present, but I tell you, shadows of darkness, spirits, vampires, witches, demons, these things are real. It is to their advantage that the world has become so scientific, so cynical. But we know they exist, Gabriel, and we hunt them.
How do we hunt them? And why?
Why? Because it is our duty. We are the ones who know, Gabriel. As for how, that is something you will have to learn. But it is not easily explained over the phone.
Tell me more about Schattenjägers.
We can talk more about that later, Gabriel. For now, you know enough.
Okay. Dann die wichtigste Frage über Tetelo.
Tell me about Tetelo.
Well, from your description of the ritual last night, I'd say that Gunther's mistress, Tetelo, is now the primary lore for the Gedi tribe. It seems she still controls them by possessing her female descendants and speaking through them. Do you remember in Gunther's journal he said that Tetelo was possessed by her father's lore during the killings in Charleston? This sounds similar, but Tetelo has obviously become a much more powerful lore than her father ever was. Probably because of the added power of the talisman.
Den sie ja geklaut hat. Jetzt fragen wir nochmal über Tetelo.
Tell me more about Tetelo.
I believe she truly loved Gunther. After all, she was raised to be her father's daughter. Their religion was not a choice she made, but a duty she endured. How can she be blamed for that? The spirit she has become, that is a different matter. It is utterly evil. I am certain that the lower Tetela bears little resemblance to the woman Tetela was before the burning in Charleston.
Tell me more about Tetelo.
She once was a beautiful and intelligent woman, and she probably did not deserve Gunther's betrayal. But the Tetelo we fight now is more akin to her tribe's dark gods than to anything human in nature.
Sprich, sie hat sich ziemlich gewandelt, quasi.
Tell me more about Tetelo.
She once was a
Okay, das hatten wir. Jetzt noch der Talisman.
Let's talk about the talisman.
I myself have only seen it in old sketches and paintings, and in my dreams. It was in the family for centuries before Tetler took it. It is believed to be as old as the role of Schattenjäger itself. The talisman has genuine power. I don't know how or why, but it is so. The Schattenjäger swore to use the power for good, never for evil. For defense, not offense. Since it fell into Tetler's hands, I'm afraid to think what the power has been used for, or what it will be used for in the future. With the talisman, Tetler has all the power and we none. The only possible way to fight her is to regain the talisman. Then we will at least be on more equal footing.
How can we regain the talisman?
We've been searching for the talisman for years, ever since we lost it. It's a terrible thing to know that something powerful that was entrusted to us is in the wrong hands. The talisman is probably buried with Tetlo's remains. That's what gives her lore so much power.
Is there anything else you can tell me about the talisman?
The most important thing about the talisman is that it be once again in the hands of the Schattenjägers.
Okay, aber wo sind die Überreste von Tetelo?
How would we find Tetelo's remains?
Ha! We have pondered that question a long time, the Ritters. There are two probabilities. The first is that her remains are with the tribe at their current location. The other is that the remains were returned to a sacred place near the tribe's original homeland. We've tried to locate Tetlo's African homeland, but Gunther says so little in his journal about her tribe, and slaving records are practically non-existent. Also, Tetlo's tribe was utterly destroyed in its African form in the late 17th century. There was nothing like a census in Africa then. As for the other idea, we had no clue as to where Tetlo's people went after fleeing Charleston. Until now.
How would we find...
We must locate the tribe's original African homeland. Her remains might be there, or they might be in New Orleans, buried among her descendants.
Gut, die afrikanische Heimat.
Let's discuss the possible African homeland.
All right. Have you learned anything that might help us locate it?
I spoke with the Professor Hartridge. Unfortunately for him, he thinks the tribe's name was Agri, and that they lived near the Fon tribe in what is now called the People's Republic of Benin.
That is incredible, Gabriel. I must go research this new information in my library right now.
Wait, what should I do?
Stay low. If you get a chance, you might look into the possibility that Tetlo's remains are somewhere in New Orleans. But don't try to broach their private areas without my assistance, Gabriel. You will make a fine Schattenjäger, but only if you're not dead.
Sure, I'll wait.
Bye then, Gabriel. And remember, if you need a place of safety, come to Schloss Ritter.
Goodbye, Uncle Wolfgang.
Gut. Gehen wir mal noch raus zur Grace und reden mit Grace.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Ob man ihr sagen könnte, was Schattenjäger ist?
You can't tell me anything?
Nope.
Okay. Ich dachte, man könnte es ja jetzt noch erzählen.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope. None right now.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Ja, okay. Hier war nichts zu machen, aber eines könnte man noch machen, und zwar das Horoskop lesen.
Times Picayune, dated June 24th, 1993. There's nothing about the Voodoo-Murde's case in the papers today. Gabriel finds a humorous tidbit under the Life is Stranger Than Fiction column. Apparently, there were reports of ghosts in the Bayou Saint-Jean last night. Various people called the newspaper with stories about hearing strange noises and seeing weird lights over the swamp. Some folks claim it's the ghost of Marie Laveau. The paper relates it to similar delusions that crop up every Halloween. Gabriel's horoscope today reads, "Wise is the warrior who knows when to fight and when to get the hell out of dodge."
God help me, I'm actually starting to listen to this guy.
So, und wahrscheinlich müssen wir auch die Stadt verlassen. Auf Schloss Ritter erstmal Zuflucht suchen. Aber er hat uns erst aufgetragen, nach den Talismanen zu suchen. Aber das werden wir beim nächsten Mal rausfinden. Bis dahin, macht's gut.